Glad tidings, everyone, and welcome to video number 3, entitled "The Day That Shall Not Be Followed by Night." Behind me here, you see the key points of this video. We're going to review the symbolism of day, night, sun, moon, stars, heaven, and then the scriptures that contain them, one saying that they're all going to go dark, and another one saying there'll be the day of God where there will be no darkness. And then how the Baha'i Faith and the Baha'i Covenant fulfills those scriptures. So let's jump right in. Again, I'm going to use Jewish, Christian, and Muslim scriptures to illustrate the point, and I'm only going to do a few, just one or two of each at the most, and I'm going to abbreviate everything to keep it quick. So here we go. Joel 2. The earth shall quake before them, the heavens shall tremble, the sun and the moon shall be darkened, and the stars shall withdraw their shining, and the Lord shall utter his voice. For the day of the Lord is great and very terrible. Who can abide it? Christian, Matthew 24. Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, the moon shall not give her light, the stars shall fall from heaven, and the power of heavens shall be shaken. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. From the Islam, from the Quran, chapter 81. In the name of the merciful and compassionate God, when the sun is folded up, and when the stars do fall, when the mountains are moved, when the heaven shall be flayed, as in it says the heaven shall be shaken, previous, heaven shall be flayed, and when paradise shall be brought near, the soul shall know what it has produced. Okay, so we have sun, moon, stars, all going dark, falling from heaven. Now, Baha'u'llah explains what the symbology, which I have written here, what the symbology means, and it's all from his Book of Certitude, excerpts from his Book of Certitude. And now concerning his words, the sun shall be darkened, the moon shall not give its light, and the stars shall fall from heaven. Thus by this term sun, in one sense, is meant those sons of truth, meaning Moses, Jesus, Muhammad, for example, who rise from the day spring or the sun of ancient glory and fill the world with a liberal effusion of grace from on high. Thus it has become evident that the terms sun, moon, stars primarily signify, respectively, the prophets of God, their saints, and their companions, all being those luminaries, the light of whose knowledge hath shed illumination upon the worlds of the visible and invisible. Hence it is clear and manifest by the words, the sun shall be darkened, the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, is intended the waywardness of the clergy, or divines, the waywardness of the clergy, and the annulment of laws firmly established by divine revelation, all of which in symbolic language have been foreshadowed by the manifestation or prophet of God. So the light appears, the guidance is flowing, and then it ends. That's what these prophecies we just read right here. That's what these prophecies we just read from Jewish, Christian, and Muslim say. It's what they say. Okay? So now we're going to move to this series of prophecies about the day that shall not be followed by night. Usually I want to do one, but I'm going to do two from the Jewish because they're so wonderful. First one is from Zechariah 14. And it shall come to pass in that day, the day of God, the time of the end, 1844, that the light shall not be clear nor dark, but it shall be one day which shall be known to the Lord's day, not day nor night. But it shall come to pass that at evening time it shall be light. And it shall be in that day that living waters, meaning divine guidance, living waters, spiritual guidance, shall go out from Jerusalem, half of them towards the former sea, which is various versions of the Bible is translated to former sea, the Mediterranean, or the east, to the east. And half of them toward the hinder sea, which some Bible verses say is the Dead Sea, or to the west. And then it says, in summer and in winter shall it be. And then it says, and the Lord shall be king over all the earth. All the earth. In that day there shall be one Lord, and his name one. So he's saying the divine guidance in that day shall encompass the world to the east. It shall encompass the world to the west. It shall be year round in the summer and winter, and it shall be king. He shall be king over all the earth. That's what these two things mean. East, west, summer, winter means all the earth, all the time. Isaiah 60, the sun shall be no more thy light by day, neither for brightness shall the moon give light unto thee. But the Lord shall be unto thee an everlasting light, and thy God thy glory, glory of God, Baha'u'llah, thy God thy glory. The sun shall no more go down, the sun shall no more go down, neither shall thy moon withdraw itself, for the Lord shall be thine everlasting light. Okay, now Christian, Revelation 21. And I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth were passed away. Passed away means you died. What did these other scriptures say? It says the religion ends. And here in Revelation it says the heaven. What's the heaven? The revelation of God. The revelation. The religion. It passed away. The one that came before has passed away. That's what it says. And I, John, saw the holy city, the new Jerusalem, the new city of God, the new revelation, the new religion, coming down from God out of heaven, the heaven of revelation, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband, bride wearing white, meaning purity, and in this case meaning holiness. And he carried me away in the spirit to a great and high mountain, and showed me that great city, the new Jerusalem, the holy Jerusalem, descending out of heaven from God, having the glory of God, Baha'u'llah. And the city had no need of the sun, neither of the moon to shine in it, for the glory of God, Baha'u'llah, did lighten it, and the Lamb is the light thereof. Now, the Lamb with a capital L signifies a divine sacrifice. This lamb is, you see these two pictures here? These are the shrine of the Bab on Mount Carmel. B-A-B, Bab means the gate. The Bab was the John the Baptist figure of the Baha'i Faith. He was the crier in the wilderness for Baha'u'llah, if you will. One definition of what he did, or who he was, and what his mission was. And this is where he's interred. This is his shrine. And he was martyred. He was executed for being the promised one. And so he also, in addition to Christ, he also is a lamb. And this lamb in this sentence is referring to the Bab. And it says, the glory of God, Baha'u'llah, and the Lamb are the lights thereof of the new city, the new religion. And they are. Bab and Baha'u'llah are the twin manifestations of the Baha'i Faith. And then it says, and the nations of them which are saved shall walk in the light of it, and the kings of the earth do bring their glory and honor unto it. And the gates of this new city shall not be shut at all by day, for there shall be no night there. The day that shall not be followed by night. So that's, and we're going to come back to that in a second. That's Christianity and Judaism. And now one from Islam, from chapter 32 in the Quran. It says, it is God, or Allah, who has the God, Allah, the God, Allah. It is God who hath created the heavens and the earth, and all between them in 6 days, and is firmly established on the throne of authority. He rules all affairs from the heavens to the earth. In the end will all affairs go up to him on a day, the space whereof will be as 1,000 years of your reckoning. Such is he, the knower of all things, hidden and open, the exalted, the merciful. So the day that he's talking about, the end times, the day of God, will be 1,000 years as we understand it, which means it'll have no night, 1,000 years of day. And the Baha'i revelation, Baha'u'llah says, will last no less than 1,000 years. So this is talking about the Baha'i revelation, and to prove that even more, that sentence that said, God is the knower of all things, hidden, open, God is the exalted, the merciful. The Bab's name is Sayyid Ali Muhammad. Ali means the exalted. Baha'u'llah's name is Mirza Hussein Ali. Hussein means the merciful. So he just says the exalted, the merciful. The Bab and Baha'u'llah. So that is now these revelations talking about the day that shall not be followed by night. Now we'll have the Baha'i Faith talking about the day that shall not be followed by night, and how this part comes into play. And where does this title comes from the Baha'i writings. So I'm going to read you a very special passage. It's from the summons right here, the summons of the Lord of Hosts. It's from the temple, the surah, the chapter of the temple, in which God himself is speaking to Baha'u'llah. And he refers to Baha'u'llah as the temple of holiness. So this is God talking to Baha'u'llah. O temple of holiness, we have singled thee out above all that hath been created in the heavens and the earth, and chosen thee for our own self. This is but an evidence of the bounty which God has vouchsafed unto thee, a bounty which shall last until the day that hath no end in this contingent world. It shall endure, the day of God shall endure so long as God, the Supreme King, the help in peril, the mighty, the wise, shall endure. For the day of God is none other but his own self, who hath appeared with the power of truth. This is the day that shall not be followed by night. Would that ye might understand. So how does divine guidance flow and not cease in the Baha'i revelation? Well, it's through his covenant, and it is the fulfillment of, I want to read two passages from Isaiah who talks about this and how it's fulfilled, and show you actual pictures of the fulfillment. So Isaiah 35, the wilderness and the solitary place shall blossom as the rose. It shall blossom abundantly and rejoice even with joy and singing. The excellency of Carmel and Sharon, they shall see the glory of the Lord and the excellency of our God. You can see here Mount Carmel in this picture. And if you go this way, you see it goes down, and then eventually out here is the Mediterranean. So when the mountain ends right here, there's a flat part which goes out to the Mediterranean. That is the plain of Sharon. Look, straight up geology and geography. Look it up. That's the plain of Sharon, right next to the Mount Carmel. So it says, the excellency of Carmel and Sharon, they shall see the glory of the Lord, Baha'u'llah. And Isaiah 2, and it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of the Lord's house, Carmel, shall be established on the top of the mountains, and shall be exalted above the hills. And all nations shall flow unto it, and many people shall go and say, Come ye, let us go to the top of the mountain of the Lord, to the house of the God of Jacob, and he will teach us his ways. We will walk in his paths, and out of Zion shall go forth the law. This picture was taken in May 23rd, 2001. This, you recognize it from these two pictures. This is the shrine of the Bab, halfway up Mount Carmel. You see with the golden dome, that's the shrine of the Bab. And you see people walking up those stairs. There was over 3,000 people from 180 different countries who were at this moment where the terraces that you see 9 terraces there going up to the shrine of the Bab, and there's 9 above, which I'll show you in a minute, which were all completed. And so this is the celebration of the opening of the terraces, and it is the fulfillment over 2,700 years later of these prophecies of Isaiah, where the people shall flow unto it and receive the law. The next picture expands on this picture, where we see, as I said, you can see the top now, 9 terraces. And right here, you can kind of see a little bit of an arc, a little bit of an ARC, an arc, where there's a building there, a building there, a building there. These are also Baha'i buildings of the World Center. This is the seat of the Universal House of Justice, which I'll talk about in a minute, and I'll show you a better picture of this arc in a minute. So this is the Baha'i World Center. See how it's green, and it's you can see how it blooms as the rose, how it's lush, and you can't really see the flowers and everything, but it is a garden of gardens. It is world renowned for its garden, and so again, it fulfills it was bloom as the rose. And I'll now just complete this and show you. Here is that arc. So this ARC, the arc, you can see the curvature of where the buildings are set up and established. This is the International Teaching Center, seat of the Universal House of Justice, Center for the Study of the Texts, in the International Archives building. Here is Monument Gardens. This is the monument to Abdul Baha's sister Bahia Khanum, where she is interred. That's the top half of Mount Carmel, you can see there. And it is from this building here that the law of today, the Word of God, flows. How is that? Let me tell you. So this part now. So in 3 of Baha'u'llah's writings, which are the Most Holy Book, the Book of His Covenant, and the Tablet of the Branch, Baha'u'llah firmly establishes that Abdul Baha was his successor, the center of his covenant, the authorized interpreter of his word, and was under the unerring guidance of himself and the Bab. So, divine guidance from Baha'u'llah through Abdul Baha. Abdul Baha, prior to his passing, wrote his will and testament. And in his will and testament, Abdul Baha passed away in 1921. He named his eldest grandson. So this is Abdul Baha, center of the covenant, and he named his eldest grandson Shoghi Effendi, the guardian of the faith, in his will and testament. And he too was an authorized interpreter of the Word of God, was under the care and protection of the Bab and Baha'u'llah and unerring guidance. So how was the universal? So the next step is that Universal House of Justice that I mentioned. How did the Universal House of Justice come into play? So in addition to Baha'u'llah talking about his eldest son succeeding him, he also said in the future there will be this institution called the Universal House of Justice established. And it was first established in the Tablet of Carmel, Baha'u'llah's Tablet of Carmel, which he wrote in 1891 while he was on the side of Mount Carmel. This is a brief excerpt from it. He says, "Call out to Zion, O Carmel." He's talking to the mountain. Call out like Jesus talked to Jerusalem. Call out to Zion, O Carmel, and announce the joyful tidings. He that was hidden from mortal eyes is come. His all-encompassing splendor is revealed. Beware lest thou hesitate or halt. Hasten forth and circumambulate the city of God, Revelation 21, the city of God that hath descended from heaven. Oh, how I long to announce unto every spot on the surface of the earth, and to carry to each one of its cities the glad tidings of this revelation. Before long, God will sail his ark, Revelation 11:19. He will sail his ark, A-R-K, upon thee, and will manifest the people of Baha, who have been mentioned in the Book of Names. The Book of Names is a book by the Bab. The people of Baha are the Universal House of Justice. So, the beloved guardian, in 1953, gave the Baha'i world a 10-year plan called the 10-Year World Crusade. It was a plan, amongst other things. One of the goals was to raise up, by the end of the 10 years, by 1963, enough what we call national spiritual assemblies, because the 9 members of each of those assemblies elect the Universal House of Justice. So the goal was to raise up enough of these national spiritual assemblies so that the Universal House of Justice could be elected in 1963. Midway through this 10-Year World Crusade, the Guardian passed away in 1957. So the hands of the cause of God, who shall be forever immortalized by this selfless act that they did, they said, we have to follow this divine guidance. And they did. They made sure that all the goals were achieved by 1963, at which time the National Spiritual Assemblies met in the World Center, which I just showed you, and elected the first Universal House of Justice, which is guaranteed by Baha'u'llah to be divinely guided. So this is how this covenant stays immaculate, and the divine guidance never ceases to flow. Okay? And that is really it. The last thing I want to say is last two things I want to say is, remember, this is a conversation that is beginning. It's not possible to answer all the questions satisfactorily for everybody. This will be going for hours. So Google the local spiritual assemblies of whatever city you live in or whatever county you live in. Call them up. Hey, I'd like to meet with you and join one of your fireside meetings. That's what they have. We Baha'is have fireside meetings. I want to join one of your fireside meetings. I have some questions. This guy on the internet talked about. I have some questions. That's the first thing. Second thing is, friends, remember to like, subscribe, and comment. And I want to say to us old folks, when you see subscribe, you think of a magazine going to be delivered to your house and you got to pay a bill. That's not how YouTube works. Subscribing just means that you're supporting the channel, and when you go to YouTube and you open it up, those channels that you subscribe to, you'll see any new videos. They'll post those new videos for you and show you that there's new videos. There's no money, there's no advertising, there's nothing getting mailed to your house. So like, subscribe, and comment if you want to support any YouTube channel. Thank you very much. God bless you all. Ya Baha'u'llah Pa, Ya Liyo Allah.